And now this is something else, and you have a video where you break all of these down. When we say gladiator, there's different types of gladiator too. It's not just like you're a gladiator, that's what it is, that's what you are. There was a bunch of different types as well, right?
Yeah. And just by the way, to go back to your earlier question, I actually argue that gladiators have always been with us through our history. I mean, for me, the earliest example of gladiators is in the Iliad. I think there's been sort of various components of what made gladiatorial sport ever present. And I don't think they go away because I think they have to do with human nature. In fact, I think, not to go on a tangent, but one of the things about gladiators is that they embodied a great philosophy of the Romans. The Greeks had a philosophy called arete, which meant excellence in what you did. But the Romans believed in virtus, and virtus was martial skill. It was physical and mental endurance. And the gladiators embodied that. They were sort of created out of different components from Greek sports, from funerary rites, but they became this incredible symbol. And what's interesting is that I think that if you look at UFC fighting, it is virtus. So virtus is such a fundamental thing to us that we keep trying to invent it in some way. And even if we don't speak about it, it's ever present in our culture.
And so then how many different types of gladiators, when we'll say, because as you're saying, like they're forever, but when we're talking about kind of the Roman gladiators that we know.
Oh, yes.
It was different types. It wasn't just like you're a gladiator, that's it.
No, they were different types. There were different classifications. They really were mixed martial artists. It was really the first, I would say, true MMA. So there was, people argue between 20 to 30 different types of gladiators. I mean, we have some sort of mainstays that were the most popular, and people would probably recognize them if they saw a picture. I would say the most famous is the Retiarius, because he's the only gladiator that didn't have a helmet. So, his looks were part of the sort of charm of him. He had a net and trident, so a very particular series of weapons. And he would fight against someone like a secutor, sometimes someone known as a Murmillo. And these guys were quite heavily armored. They had very iconic helmets, very sort of powerful physiques. So because there was different types, when you actually became a gladiator, your trainer, your doctore, would look at you and choose what kind of discipline you would go into, because he would physically look at you and say, okay, you've got quite the, maybe you're tall, lengthy, you're quite sort of quick, you'd make a good Retiarius. Or maybe you're a little bit bulkier, you're a little bit slower, but you're powerful, you're like a heavyweight, you'd make a great Murmillo.